Prologue 2. Explosions overhead sounded a little like hail, he thought. He couldn't remember when there had been a day with just the old weather. Now, it wasn't uncommon to hear the swelling and burst of shrapnel at all hours. But the tinny retort of the roof so far above was unusual, and Zhao wasn't used to it. He'd known some punks outside who'd climbed up on the husks of buildings and played their off-tune music even as the world shook. Distractedly, Zhao watched as a woman in her late middle age walked past him. She held herself tall, but her face looked utterly crestfallen. He wanted to say something, but what do you say to someone you don't even know looks devastated? What can you say? And before he could think of an answer, she'd gone and the buzzer he'd been issued by the surprisingly calm receptionist had begun to ring. Heck, Zhao mused, everyone here looked way too calm. Maybe it was a good sign? The guard led him into the inner areas, past the corporate expanse of the waiting room, and into an antechamber they refused to enter. It was filled with machines that Zhao immediately wanted to sketch, but he could tell that was a leisure he wasn't going to have.
Hey, pal. Looks like you made it just in time, sorry for the artificially extended wait. You know how it is. All sorts of things happen, all sorts of things need taking care of. You start running out of time.
His host shook his hand once, firmly, but Zhao noticed he was looking to either side, clearly expecting someone else.
You don't have any parents, then? Nap. Don't worry, it's not uncommon or anything. I mean, obviously, I have parents, I just don't know who they are. But I've grown up pretty decently on my own, so I'm ready to do this thing.
Zhao grinned. It certainly beat whatever was happening in the yards right now. Besides,
I still get that sign-in bonus, right?
For a minute, the host's perfect smile and perfect composure faded into semi-pensive amusement. Then his smile snapped back into place with an almost audible crack.
Sure, I don't see why not. We prefer that there's someone on the outside that we deal with, but there is, actually. In the info you had us fill out, my music teacher? You could maybe get in touch with her. Yeah, that'll do it. So, I'm guessing it was a kind of jury-rigged class.
With the tension having died down, Zhao started examining the containers themselves. They were like nothing else he had ever seen, and he wasn't sure if they were intimidating or beautiful.
I'd teach some of the younger kids, for example. Whoa, this is pretty cool. So I just point at whom I want to come with.
Across the webs of green light, images flickered into being. To his surprise, Zhao noted that 3 images were blotted out, ominous red slashes splattered against their profiles.
You got it, man. Just make sure you choose wisely. Some people just end up diving in, and you can't consider that strategic, you know.
Zhao stared in concentration, trying not to look like he wanted to just dive in. But this
is really hard. Everyone here looks awesome. Hey. Why can't we all just be friends? I mean, if we're going to a pretty much unknown island, why not go as a big group of friends?
Instead of answering, the man simply smiled in reply. He didn't stop smiling. After a while, Zhao nervously turned back to the matrix in front of him, noticing that most data was limited to name alone. Hadn't it had power lists and personality a moment ago? Finally, he reached his decision, tapping the image of a worn-out skeleton and a plant-like, young woman whose stripes he felt were pretty cool.
Oh. Good choice, great choice. With that out of the way then.
The matrix flickered and for a brief second, Zhao could see something under the projected overlay, a writhing cacophony of light that lasted long enough to feel like little more than a hallucination.
But more importantly, you've got stuff to take with you? Changes of clothes, snack packs, bottled water or perhaps canned beverages from the machine down the hall.
Rolling his eyes, Zhao shifted his backpack into view. It was a faded cream color that had maybe been a bright gold or orange, long ago.
It's got art supplies, and I read your bulletin twice over. I made enough sandwiches to last me at least a week. I think me and my friends can probably find something good by then.
Quietly laughing, the representative in front of him gestured to one of the chambers, next to one that, itself, was closed off and sheltered from view with red streams of light.
Well, clearly you've put a lot of thought into this. We'll get in contact with that teacher friend person of yours, maybe try to see about getting that class of yours somewhere to actually learn. But most importantly, you have fun. Good luck.
Zhao smiled and then breathed a sigh of relief as the approaching dark allowed him to let the smile drop. A sense of warmth and exhaustion ran over him, then screamed in every possible direction at once. He awoke not long after, the suns above staring brightly back at him. Wincing from the glare, Zhao got to his feet, and realized he was knee-deep in tilled dirt.
Sorry.
A voice murmured from the soil around him. It was an old and cracked and clattering voice, and it came from the skeleton pouring water patiently into the tiny spring buds amidst the soil.
But would it be acceptable for you to move back just a minute? I'd like to get to those flowers you landed on.
Zhao blinked, then stepped back and got to the ground.
Sure, no problem. Let me help.
The skeleton turned and fixed him with a half-smile that couldn't easily change.
Oh. Thank you. It's just that, there isn't too much land good for gardening around here. An old man such as myself wants to be able to give a little back to the soil before making introductions.
The two toiled for some time in silence, Zhao simply amazed at soil that hasn't grown pale and grainy from lack of nutrients. The suns began to set above, and as they did his skeletal companion slowly rose up in a cloud of shaken dirt and insects gently placed back into the earth around them.
I'm Bones. It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance.
The skeleton tried to grin, but his mouth just unhinged slightly.
Oh. Sorry. I hope I'm not frightening you.
Bones' words were abashed, almost embarrassed. Zhao quickly shook his head.
Dude. Not at all. I think you look awesome. I'm just sorry I landed in your garden. It's good to meet you, too. Is the entire island? Is it all like this?
Zhao waved his hands in every possible direction, spinning to try to take in as much of the lush vegetation and tall, fire-blue trees that rose over them. It was with some shock that he saw the young woman facing him with a serious look mid-spin, and fell flat on his back.
Garden in bros.
Jumping over Zhao, she raised a fist to Bones, who, with a long-suffering but not entirely unhappy sigh, placed a bony fist to hers.
Whoa, sorry for knocking you over, bro. Here, let me help you up.
Reaching a little past Zhao, she groped towards the air and stumbled forward, laughing.
Oh, man, okay, round 2. Let's try that again.
Zhao had already managed to pull himself back up by this point, and was trying not to laugh.
Too slow. And you're... Zombie, right? Whoa. You know me? Dude, this guy knows me. I must be getting famous, Bones. Yeah, alright.
Clapping to herself, Zemby adopted the most serious expression and placed a fist.
Okay. 2 things. 1. What is your name, rockin' dude? I'm Zhao. Zhao. Your fist, my fist. Now. Join this holy garden covenant. Come on. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on.
Now, not trying to hide his laughter and the grin on his face, Zhao placed his fist to hers. His knuckles stung for a second, like they'd been static shocked, and then she jumped into the air. And without any provocation, Bones did the same, landing into a collapsed pile as he did so.
Garden bros.
The three yelled, and Zhao mused that already, he felt like he was home. Chapter end.